happy readers, it's Tuesday. This week I'm going to do a top 10 Tuesday, but it's not gonna be the broken bookish kind. It's going to be the John Green week kind. This is the top 10 things I like about John Green novels in no particular order. Number 1 is there are so many different characters. They're so tangible and ridiculous and complex, and I genuinely would like to meet these people. Not just characters like Pudge, Colin, Will, or Q, but also his sidekicks, the best friends. The people like the Colonel and Ben and Radar and Tiny Cooper. Just such great and perfect characters. Characters that you believe are real people. Number 2, I like how the central idea slash the story, they just all blend together. It's not like the quotes are just kind of like thrown in. They're very much a part of the story, like with Looking for Alaska and the quote about the labyrinth and I go to seek the great perhaps, and Walt Whitman's poems and Paper Towns, which kind of blends into number 3, which is that I like the poems and the lyrics and other such things that he picks for his books. All those quotes and uses of poems and things like that lead me to new bands to listen to, new poets to read, new novelists to read. I very much enjoy his one-liners. I don't know if those are like necessarily like meant to be, but they very much stick out in my mind. I'm rereading Looking for Alaska and I'm about halfway through, but I do this thing where I kind of do this, and that's where I have like underlined things. He talks about never use highlighters in my books. My dad had told me 1,000 times, but how else are you supposed to find what you're looking for? Just like quotes that are just stick out in my mind that are great, and they will always get you to remember the whole story and just bring it all back. I like that he is very descriptive in his novels. I know in Paper Towns I'm rereading through the audiobook, and I very much enjoyed that you feel like you're driving downtown Orlando when you're reading this book. Number 6 would be that it raises the bar for young adult fiction. I know that young adult fiction gets this, I guess not really a stigma, but more like this stereotype, or I know there's a better word for it, but it's basically that people just think that they're like, you know, light summer read kind of books, that they're cute girly kind of things, and it's just, no, this kind of raises the standard to be like, you can be an intellectual person and read young adult fiction. Also that young adults feel things that adults feel. We are growing up, not growing sideways or something. We're actually, you know, experiencing responsibility and experiencing very grown-up things that, you know, adults kind of forget about when they grow up. Actually, he was the first young adult author that I read that I was like, wow, he's treating me like I am, you know, an experienced person in the world, that I am like, just, how do I explain this? It's just like, he treats you like you're a mature adult and not just some kid. It meant the world to me reading Paper Towns and just like thinking to myself, like, this is such a mature story that like you wouldn't see it in another novel. Like, I've never read a book like that before, and I've read some mysteries before, but it's like adult books are usually the mysteries, whereas like young adult literature is usually just kind of like, not always, but like since then I feel like it's allowed people to think a little bit more complexly about young adults. He has very, very good looking covers. This is the original cover for Abundance of Catherines. I know they've changed it at least twice. I know they just did a thingamajig for another cover of this, but I really enjoy this cover because it definitely speaks to what it's actually about, math. The next item on the list is I enjoy the community that surrounds John Green. That is not only nerdbiters, but also people that he has attracted through his writing. If you ever run across a John Green fanatic, they want to talk to you. They are very excited people. They want to talk to you about not just John Green, but about, you know, reading in general. They are very excited people. And when they find out that you like John Green novels, you're just A-okay in their book. I guess that would be a little bit more complex than that, but at the same time, if you run across somebody who really likes John Green novels, you always have that in common, and they're always really awesome to talk to. The next point is related to something I said before, but it's also a little bit different, which is to say that John Green novels lead me to other authors. I guess there's a big circle of authors in New York that he is friends with, and so people like Libba Bray, that he's the reason why I read Beauty Queens. He's the reason why I read Stephanie Perkins' books. He's the reason why I read Maureen Johnson's books. The reason why I read Will Grayson, well, of course, Will Grayson, but at the same time, it's just like, he leads you to other authors, not just himself. The last point I want to make is more like a reiteration of the first point, which is to say, the characters. I just love these sidekicks, and I almost wish that they had their own novels. Not that I think that he would ever write those, but I think that Tiny Cooper could at least have a musical in his name. In his honor, you know? That is all. I hope you have a great week, and I hope that you enjoy the John Green week that is going on. I will link below to ieatwords.com. I am pretty sure that they're linking to like everybody's posts, but I will link to all of that stuff below. I hope you all have a great week and keep reading.